Well, good morning. I would like to say Happy Valentine's Day to you all, but I won't because some people get very, very offended by it. And it's understandable why. It's a day really where we celebrate being in love, having the perfect partner. We show all these soppy pictures and videos on Facebook, but then there's a whole load of people who are on their own and they seem to be left out and not happy with it. And that's what I wanted to talk about today is, are you happy? It's really funny that we set ourselves these rules of why we should be happy and what should make us happy, but in fact we don't follow along. There's so many people who say, I'll be happy when I lose the weight, or I'll be happy when I find a perfect partner, or I'll be happy when this happens, when I win the lottery, blah 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 blah. And it doesn't actually work like that, guys. The reality is that we need to be happy first before we can go on and do all these other things successfully. So I remember some years ago a friend of mine said, I will lose the weight when I find the right person. And I said, no, you want to lose the weight now because it might stop you finding the right person. You don't need excuses as to why to be happy. Now, we can happily drive to work. We can happily clean the kitchen. We can happily do anything in our lives. It's just an attitude. It's just a way of thinking. If we're constantly thinking about the things that are missing, the things that are wrong, we're going to feel unhappy. But if we think about the things that make us happy, or we just choose to do something happily, we're going to feel so much better. And it is really, that people argue with me about this, but it is genuinely true that you can choose how you feel. I'll give you an example, is that most Sunday mornings I'll get up and our kitchen is an absolute state. It's just usually on a Saturday night we relax, we have some quick food, maybe a glass of wine or two, and it's just, we don't clean up straight after us. And Sunday I like to get up and I enjoy the process of tidying that kitchen because I do things to make it right. So some of the things that I do is, one, I stick on our digital radio and I like to put on Planet Rock. I love heavy metal and rock blues music, and I turn that up nice and loud, sometimes annoying somebody who's still in bed, but I like to listen to that, and I'm really getting into that music while I'm tidying the kitchen, washing the dishes, getting on and making the Sunday lunch. I love to cook. The other thing I can do is sometimes I put on some trainings. I've got an awful lot of hypnosis, NLP trainers, psychology, all sorts of things that I love listening and learning things. And sometimes I put those on nice and loud and listen to that. And sometimes I listen to them again and again because it gets it in. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to take in new skills to help people the more that I can. So just by making a few changes, I could get up and just think, oh God, this bloody kitchen, I'm going to have to tidy it again. I only did it yesterday, and get myself in a rut and do that for the rest of the day. Or I can just relax and say, hey, sod it. What can I do to enjoy this experience? And you can do that with anything that you're doing in life. You know, I've seen some people go to the gym and absolutely hate it. They just feel awkward, they feel uncomfortable, they don't like being fat, they don't like admitting to themselves they've got problems, that they need to get fitter. Where other people I know go to the gym and they absolutely love it because they say to themselves, I'm getting fitter by the minute, I'm getting in shape, I'm feeling good, I'm enjoying the music. And again, by using the music or whatever you need to in your mind. So we find that people who are happy usually have great voices and images and music in their head. And yes, everybody has those, guys. You're not nuts if you have those. We all do. But again, people who are unhappy have got things in their head saying, oh, I'll be happy, or I don't like this, or I've got no money. And a great expression I heard years ago was, how can you enjoy £1,000 if you can't enjoy £10? If you can't go out with £10 and enjoy it because you think when this is gone, it's gone, you're going to have exactly the same with £1,000, £1 million, £25 million. Money is a really funny thing. There's so many people who win the lottery and end up desperate and broke a few years down the line because they don't know how to handle it. Money doesn't make you happy. People think it does. There's lots of different things there that we think will happen in life to make us happy. So the first thing is, guys, choose to be happy. Choose to be happy. Just say, okay, today I'm going to be happy. You don't have to have a partner, or you might have a partner. Just choose to be happy. You might not be going on holiday, or you could be going on holiday, but choose to be happy. Look for the good things in life, and you will find that they are there. You will always find what you look for. And to give you a great example, my parents. My parents used to go out every Friday for a lunch. My mother didn't want to cook on a Friday afternoon, so they'd always go out for lunch. And they'd time it just right. They'd go a little bit later than everybody else. It had quietened down. And I'd say to my dad, when they came back, how was your lunch? Oh, it was great. It was beautiful. Loved it. And if I said to my mum, what was the meal like? Oh, it was too busy. It was too quiet. It was too hot. It was too cold. It was undercooked. It was overcooked. She always found a way of looking for the things that were wrong. They could go on holiday, exactly the same thing. My dad would love it. He'd look at this, he'd look at that, look at the other. But my mum would say, oh no, it was too hot, it was too crowded, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, the people weren't nice. It's just an outlook. Happiness is just purely an outlook. And it's really funny because I've seen some people that you would think would be unhappy who were really, really happy. So I'll give you another example. Some years ago, I heard a radio story of a guy who was lying in hospital with a broken back. And he said, you know, he was on this phone in, and he said, I'm one of the happiest, luckiest people going. And the radio show host said, well, why was that? And he said, well, 4 or 5 months ago, I was back in Africa and I was helping to build a school. And he says at dinner time, all the kids came running out, and he said they were basically wearing potato sacks. They didn't have clothes, they just had potato sacks. And they had one toy between them all, which was a football. And they'd all run out into this playground and they'd play football, both the boys and the girls, and they looked absolutely happy. He says they were smiling from ear to ear. And he says all they had was a football. They had sacks for clothes. But he said those kids were far happier than the kids we see in this country with mobile phones and designer shoes and bags and all sorts of things. So this guy, what had happened to him was he'd fallen off a roof, he'd broken his back, he'd ended up in hospital for 6 or 8 weeks, but he was happy because he had his life, he had his health, and he felt really good. Another example was a guy in Australia who was out swimming one day, and the shark, a big shark came along and bit off his leg. And he went on a TV show, and he was actually concerned that people were out there trying to kill the shark. But he was so happy. This guy was smiling from ear to ear. And the TV show host said to him, why are you so happy? And he says, well, I've realized there's all these things I can do with one leg. And he said, I could be dead. He said the shark could have taken both legs, but he says I can get out. He says I can still get out and swim. I can still ride a bike. I can still do sports. He said there's so much I can do with my life, but it's just jolted me to realize I can do it. And I think in this country, guys, you know, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of problems, but we should be very, very grateful. We've got a pretty good health service. Yes, it's fallen to bits and there's problems with it, but we do have free healthcare for everybody in this country. You know, most people have a roof over their head. You know, we haven't got tornadoes. We've got some bad weather, but we don't seem to get huge problems that they do in other countries. You know, Australia's having a hard time at the minute. America, China. There's so much to be grateful. We've got our health. We've got roof over our head. Most people have got food in their bellies. And one of the things we might want to do is, if we look at the people who haven't got things, is that we might want to say, let's try and help some other people. You know, when we get out there and help other people, maybe we put a couple of quid in a charity box, maybe we sign up for a lottery for a charity, we could go out there and volunteer in a soup kitchen, we can do lots of things. We realise we're better off than an awful lot of people. And that's not just to say that's me, I'm better than everybody else. It's a case of saying we've got a lot to be grateful for. And one of the things I find with people who are happy in life is that they have a purpose. They have a reason to live. It might be the kids, it might be their families, whatever it is. They might go and get down a soup kitchen and help people. They might volunteer on Christmas Day. There's loads of good people out there with charities. So what I'd say is, guys, wrapping this up, because I need to go, I've got things to do today, is that we need to make a choice. We need to choose to be happy. We need to choose to look for the good things. We need to get into those gratitude exercises, and we need to have a cause. We need a purpose, maybe helping other people or people less fortunate than ourselves. And just keep an eye on your mind of what's going on there. And if you sort of detect anything negative, anxiety, stress, depression, which are all the opposite of happiness, guys, stop them. Stop them dead. Use the techniques that we've shown you and feel better. Have a happy Valentine's Day, whether you like it or not. You don't have to have a partner, but just get out there and look for the good things in life. I'll see you all soon. We'll have another live very, very shortly. Take care.